Hi guys, Cameron Courtney here, expert runner and shoe guru. Today I'm going to be discussing how to choose the right shoe for you. So what is the right shoe for you? Well, it's going to be based on your foot type and it's going to be based on the way you run. Alright, so let's get into it. Grab a shoe, a running shoe preferably, because the way you run and the way you walk are completely different, okay? So based on your running shoe, you're going to notice something right around here. That tells me two things. It tells me one, that I need new shoes, and two, that I'm running on the outer portion of that, right? Which is not good. We want even wear down the middle of the shoe. So it's time for a new one. Another test we can do is the wet test. So I recommend getting a brown paper towel and laying it on the ground, wetting your foot, stepping on it with your right foot, right, and then stepping on it with the left one. So if you don't have one of those, you can just walk on the ground, maybe take a photo and analyze it like that. And then you're going to reference it with this sheet here. So if you have no arch, then you have a flat foot. If you have a little bit of an arch, which is good, we want a little bit of an arch, then you have a normal foot. If it looks like a big chunk is taken out of it, then you have a high arch. And then if there's literally no portion of your foot touching in the middle portion, then you have an extremely high arch. So now we know what foot type we have. What kind of shoe would I recommend based off of these? Well, if you're flat-footed, then I'm going to recommend a stability shoe. Maybe a motion control shoe. It just depends to the severity that you come inward. Okay, so right here I have a stability shoe. It's got a gray medial support. That's for the arch. Now, gray just means it's a little denser. Okay, so that's going to basically keep the foot from coming in. So I can grab the shoe and I can even do what's called a rigidity test. The more that it turns and torques, right, the softer it is, the less support it's going to have for you. Another shoe is a stability shoe. If you look at here, you're going to notice that the arch support it's much more significant, right? It's pretty tall. So this would be more of a motion control. So it's really going to fight to keep you from going inwardly. What about someone that has a normal arch? Well, I would recommend a neutral shoe. So right here, this is more of a neutral shoe represented. Like I said, rigidity test is probably gonna turn and torque pretty easily. Right out of the box, shoes are usually stiff, but you'll still be able to notice a difference with all the new shoes represented. This is super thick, but it's also thick on this side. So you really need to reference the inner portion, okay? If it's much larger than the out portion, then that means, see, like look on this one. That's thinner there. It's much thicker on the in portion of that shoe. That's what we're looking at. So that tells me this is more of a neutral shoe because it's balanced left and right. Now, what about the high to very high? So if you have a super high arch, generally speaking, if you're not in a neutral shoe, so say if like you're in a stability type shoe, then you're probably going to run on the outer portion, and that's what happened to me. Okay, that's because that medial support right here is actually causing me to lean on the outside. So I would recommend someone like that go into a neutral shoe. Something else to note: instability in the ankle and instability in the foot itself. Like if you have a weak musculature in the foot, then that's going to change things as well. So if I have a normal foot, but I'm still noticing that I'm turning in too much, all my wear and tear is on the inside, then I'm going to need a stability or a motion control shoe. Now we know our foot type, now we know what kind of shoe is best for us. Another thing to consider is the cushion, right? How much cushion do I need? And that's going to depend on basically what you're training for and how heavy you are. So if you are a female that weighs 150 pounds or greater, or a male that weighs 200 pounds or greater, I would recommend something more cushioned. Also, if I'm training for something like half marathon, marathon, ultra marathon, and I'm running a lot of miles, right, then I need something thick. So I'm training for an ultra, and this is extremely thick. This is what I want. It's going to help me absorb that energy to the pavement, right? Also, with that being said, know what kind of surface you're training for, what you're going to put mileage on, right? If you got a lot of back roads, or you got a lot of trails, then you're probably going to need a trail shoe to train with. If the race is a trail one, then you're going to need trail shoes, okay? So these have larger lugs, so that means they have more grip. That's what these are, things that grip the ground better. If I'm training for something where I need to be a lot more quicker with, something faster, like a 5K or under, then I would recommend something like this. This shoe is great for time trials. It's really light. It's also great for light mileage, and if you're a lighter person, so 20 miles and under. And then these are all-out race shoes. So I would say that you could wear these shoes up into maybe a 5K, but they do not provide a lot of cushioning, and they're probably also not going to last very long. So maybe have a race shoe for training and a shoe for racing. And some obviously can do both. What about size? Okay, rule of thumb is you can literally put your foot in the shoe and use your thumb as a reference. If your largest or longest toe touches that and you have room to put that thumb in, that's a good fit in the toe box area, which is this right here. If it's less than that, then you're running the risk of these toes running along the outside of the shoe, right? You might jam your toe, you might lose a toenail, you might get blisters. You don't want that. And if it's further back than this thumb, then you're probably going to have a lot of wiggle room, and that's going to show in the heel, and I'll get there in a second. All right, so in this portion right here, the medial area, the middle of it, if the shoe is too small, your foot's going to bulge out. You're going to notice that right here off to the sides. You're also going to notice on the laces where it V's, it's going to be hard to tie your shoelaces, okay? This shoe is too small. I need a bigger shoe. So you have your E's, your 2E's, maybe go to something like that. Maybe just get a bigger shoe entirely. Okay, this one, my foot is way too small, so laced it all the way up. I can't lace it anymore. That tells me I need a tighter fitting shoe. So again, your shoelaces need to run parallel. Now to the heel area. Okay, so the room in the toe box is going to basically translate to the heel as well. You want your heel to come to the edge and for your foot to go all the way down, right? And have that little bit of wiggle room up front, okay? If your heel is moving up and down or moving, up and down the shoe this way, then it's not a good fit for you. You need this to secure. They have these heel devices, these heel cups that kind of brace that. This shoe does not have that. It is loosey-goosey. This is not a good shoe for you. This is more of a walking shoe. I would recommend you not ever run in a shoe like this. Way too loose. Just get rid of it. You don't need it. So now we've gone over the right shoe for you, the right fit, the right cushion. We've based it upon weight, and we've based it upon the actual race for you. Some other things to consider are, when do I get a new shoe? Well, most shoes run 300 to 500 miles. If they're worn out like this, you need a new shoe. Another thing is, when you do go to, say if you go to a store and you're trying on your shoes, you want to wait to the end of the day, evening time, because that's when your foot swells, right? So you have more blood flow and you have more inflammation into your foot than you would in the morning. And when you run, you're going to have both of those things. So you want a shoe that's going to fit your swollen like foot. Another thing to consider is, what kind of socks am I going to be wearing when I try these shoes on and when I actually run? They need to match. So if you're running with a certain sock, say it's thick, try on a shoe, make sure you bring your thick socks with you when you try on your shoe. Also, bring your shoe in with you when you do try them on. If you're looking into local stores, a good one around here in California, Roseville area, is going to be Fleet Feet. They have good associates there that can actually do a running analysis on you and then can actually do a thing called a foot scan. Just make sure you call ahead of time, see what they can do, but at least now you know what you need, right? You're trained up on it, and you can go to basically any running store and have a better idea of what you're going to get. As far as online goes, runrepeat.com and then runningwarehouse.com. They're great because you can look at the specifics of the shoes and you can get a price idea. Those are really two great online stores. All right, guys, I hope you appreciated this video. I think you're pretty set. You're ready to get a shoe. So happy trails. Get out there, run. Have a good one.